In this corner, you're going to love it whether you're woke, broke, or a stroke. It's a tasty soda that's no joke. It's Coke.
I'm totally woke.
Snort that line. Snort that line of Coke.
And in this corner, if you see a thirsty man, follow the steps he takes because he'll lead you to this beverage that you'll crave, even if you have epilepsy or hepsy. It's Pepsi.
Yeah, taking those steps. Taking those steps to a line of Pepsi. Snort that line of Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Coke versus Pepsi. Blind taste test. You tried it. You Tried Dat. Coke versus Pepsi. The blind taste test is finally here. I'm Nick Novak with my pal Shane Hancock.
Howdy.
Nick Geiger.
Hey there.
All right, guys. I need your initial thoughts. Do you think you're going to be able to tell the difference between the Coke and the Pepsi?
I mean, I ranted on this podcast in one of our early episodes that I don't think people can tell the difference if you hand them a Coke and tell them it's Pepsi. I think they'll believe you. But I think that's why this is good to put this to the ultimate test. So I know there are some characteristics supposedly of Pepsi that side by side might make it easier to tell. So I'm fairly confident I'll be able to tell, but it also has been a pretty long time since I drank either of these on any regular basis, so that might throw a wrench in there. What do you think, Geiger?
Yes, I think I'll be able to tell. I don't know. I think they're pretty different. Coke has that biting in the back of your throat taste, and Pepsi's a lot sweeter. So I won't say it's been years since I've drank them. I don't drink them nearly as much as I used to, but it's probably been more like months. So I think I can. I've also thought many things and then failed at them. So we'll see.
It's interesting you mentioned that sort of like biting in the back of your throat. I used to do back when I was a big Coke drinker, I would like to sometimes start the day. The very first thing that goes into my throat, besides like brushing my teeth in the morning, would be like a Coke. And you could just feel it. Like, if that's the very first thing you consume, you could just feel it, like, just ripping apart the insides of your esophagus, like, as it goes down, just, like, peeling the lining off or whatever. That's probably not a good thing, but, like, there's something about that feeling that was like, oh, yeah, starting fresh. Whole new insides.
The more I hear about your previous diet, the more I'm just amazed you're still here with us. It's like soda in the morning and candy all the time. And
the first thing that goes in your throat, is that how you describe when you take a drink in the morning?
That's what I call breakfast. The first thing that's going in my throat.
What about you, Novak? You think you'll be able to know?
Here's the thing, and here's why I think possibly not. So much, I think, is a mental part that takes place when you see a red or blue label on the container you're drinking. Just sure. Recently, I did a thing with my daughter where we had a bag of Jelly Bellies, and we were picking out random ones and handing it to the people with their eyes closed. And that you should be able to tell very easily what's the difference. Maybe you don't name the flavor completely, but you feel like you can tell. And a lot of times we couldn't, but then when you heard the name of what it was, of the flavor, then you got it right away. You're like, that's what it is. So I feel like it's going to be much harder than we think.
There is a lot of that sort of brand loyalty, where it's like people just get so tied up in like the one brand that they're like, oh, Coke is like the best thing and I won't drink anything, besides that or whatever. And I feel like a lot of that is either marketing because people just really want to, like, I don't know, fuck those Coke polar bears or something. I don't know what it is.
That's probably it.
I think you hit on it. Yeah,
that's why people like Coke,
attachment
right?
to a polar bear.
That's what the first thing they want to.
They just look so soft and cuddly.
The polar bear is the first thing they want to feel hitting the back of their throat in the morning.
That's nasty.
So, which do you think you have a preference towards before we try them?
I think. For me, currently, it's Coke. It was Pepsi for a really long time until maybe my mid-20s. I think I switched over to Coke because Pepsi was a little sweeter. So I would say that's probably where, if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick a Coke. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't drink a lot of regular Coke and Pepsi. I would 10 times more likely be having a cherry Coke or cherry Pepsi. And I do prefer the Coke variety of that. So my thought would be I would prefer the Coke. That's my pre-thought. Geiger?
Now, you know that also you do a self-described cokehead in college. Is that right?
That's correct. I drank so much Coca-Cola. That was the reason.
We called you a cokehead, and people were like, "Oh no, he has a problem." I'm like, nah, he just loves Coca-Cola and fucking polar bears.
Right.
I know I like Coke better. I've over the course of my life, I've always preferred Coke. It was always strange because I would actually prefer Pepsi products where at restaurants because I like Mountain Dew so much. But if I had to pick one of the colas, it was usually Coke that I preferred.
Do you remember when we called you a heroin addict, but it's just because you really liked female superheroes?
Yeah, I do. It was really hard to explain that nickname to people, especially because I was like constantly scratching myself and had needles on me at all times. We'd be like, no, it's because of the superheroes.
It's just this Wonder Woman tattoo I just got.
And also, do you remember that time that we used to call you a meth head, and it was because you really liked methamphetamines?
Yeah, right. Yes. Yeah, I do. Well, I remember thinking, Chad, man, you're really into gardening, so we started calling you a pothead. All these flower pots laying around. Or is it?
Now, what delivery vehicle did you guys get here? Did you do like a 20-ounce? So I got 20-ounce bottles, but then did you do cans? Because I always felt that like out of the can tasted slightly better.
We got the 20-ounce bottles. So I agree that it tastes sometimes a little better out of a can. I feel like the cans get a little colder. Maybe that's why I like it. But I did get the 20-ounce bottles.
I also have 2 20-ounce bottles myself. I also think another thing about the can, I feel like this is going to sound stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the carbonation in the soda is better from a can. I don't know why. Like it feels fizzier. Like
I don't think that's stupid
that's
at all.
Hot take.
Bottles always taste a little flatter and smoother. But maybe that's just because it takes you longer to drink it.
Especially plastic bottles. Like glass bottle is better than plastic bottle, but can is better than all of them. And then the worst is fountain soda.
Now, so some people say the like bottle of Coke is better than like plastic and stuff like that. And I've had a bottle of Coke before and I didn't think it tasted necessarily different than...
You mean glass bottle?
Yes, I'm sorry, glass bottle, yeah, as opposed to plastic.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was all that different.
I think there's a lot of the population that prefers the fountain soda, that really likes fountain soda.
Yeah, that's insane to me, especially because like I used to work at that movie theater, and so I know how the sausage is made, right? Like the way those fountain sodas come into existence
sausage
is just
there?
this. Yeah, they take sausage, also human flesh. No, it's just like a big bag of goop, which is probably like just ground up polar bears, and it's just hooked up to these tubes. And then, mixed with like the carbonated water or whatever. It's just the whole thing is so gross. Like when you go back there to change the tubes and stuff, it's like all syrupy and sticky and everything. It was just always so nasty to me.
The problem is the consistency of the fountain soda, and that sometimes it's just, it's
so variable.
Right. Like it's too watery or it's all sugar.
Well, that in McDonald's, I think, has their own Coke version. I thought I read somewhere that like where their version of Coke is the syrup they get is sugarier or something like that. So you can only get McDonald's Coke at McDonald's or something like that. It's some goofy.
What?
I think I read that
true.
I've heard that also. Yeah.
So
who told you that?
The other
Bobby McDonald's.
Yeah, it's not Ronald McDonald. His brother Bobby. Bobby was bitter at being held out of marketing and just selling McDonald's secrets. Oh, also, guess what? The chicken McNuggets, they're not made from real chicken.
The other difference too is that there's like this different Coke and Pepsi formulas sort of like around the world. So one of the big things too here in California is people really love the Mexican Coke because it's made with actual sugar instead of corn syrup. I actually do think that makes a difference too. Like if you try it with actual sugar, it's definitely better than like corn syrup. So once again, the rest of the world better than the United States. What can I say?
Let's not delay too long, but we are going to have a little last minute surprise here. A late entry
What?
into the competition.
What?
Huh?
April Fools!
What? What?
Now, if you all look, you'll see you have a third cup on your table.
Oh, where did this
Holy
come from?
shit! Where'd that come from? I've been April fooled.
It's April.
We have a third entry, a surprise entry for the listeners. It's RC Cola.
Wow.
It is back. It's back from 1985 and ready to compete. Now, my wife was going to the grocery store. I told her to ask her if she could pick up these sodas for me, and she expressed a real shock at me wanting to get RC, and then thought she'd never find it. So I do have a liter of RC in my house now because that was the only way I could find it.
I don't know how this got here because I didn't even know we were doing RC. It just showed up. But I heard a rumor that there was an unidentified 2-liter in my fridge because my soda provider, the anonymous donor that dropped off the soda 30 seconds ago and then scampered out of my house, also could not find it in anything other than a 2-liter form.
So, Chad, you scoured the entire state of California, right?
Yeah, I took you guys on a text message ride yesterday as I was looking for it. I ended up having to go to 2 different grocery stores, a Walgreens, 2 liquor stores, and then I finally found it. I finally found it at a Shell gas station in a 20 ounce, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
You were the only cool guy at a liquor store at 1 a.m. looking for RC Cola. Hey man, beer sales closed at 9.
I go
Don't
to the
worry,
liquor
I'm cool.
store.
I'm just looking for RC Cola. What?
Well, it wasn't even 1 a.m. It was 2 p.m, and I'm like heading from liquor store to liquor store like a fucking degenerate.
What percentage of RC's yearly profits did we just provide?
They're like, wow, there's a real spike. 3 bottles sold this week.
Yeah, the one I got off the shelf was like covered in cobwebs. There was like a spider there, like back away. The spiders talk.
Yeah. Mine had an advertisement for Batman Returns with Davey DeVito on it.
So when's the last time you had an RC?
Oh God.
Quarter to never? I don't fucking remember.
It must have been at some like random 4th of July picnic when I was 12 or something like that.
I honestly can't remember. I'm sure I've had it, but I could not pick out of a lineup when I've ever drank it before.
Right. I'm sure. I think it's been at least a decade and probably more than that. So that's going to throw a real wrench into the things because we don't know what to expect from the taste of the RC. So I don't know. It might confuse us, but we're not using our regular 5-point scale. We're going to use a different scale today. And Chad, what's it going to be?
So as everybody knows, there's lots of different sort of like regional terms that you can use to describe this beverage we're drinking. So for example, down in like the Southeast, they use the term Coke actually to describe all of these carbonated beverages, just because Coke is so ubiquitous down there. Other parts of the country, they incorrectly use the term soda. But as we know, that the correct term for this beverage is pop. So we have a pop-based rating scale. So, and let me just make sure I remember it. Okay, so starting at the bottom, we've got Pop Off. And then in the middle, it's going to be Pop Goes the Weasel. And then at the top, Hop On Pop. So those are our 3.
I'm not sure that these link to quality in any ways. Popov, is that like a Russian general? Who is that?
Oh, that's like what?
Alexander Popov?
No, that's like a thing that people will say like on reality shows, like when they're about to get in a fight, like pop off. You know, that sort of thing. I guess you don't watch enough reality shows.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, Hop on Pop is Dr. Seuss. So that's great. And Pop Goes the Weasel, whatever.
And
makes perfect
Pop Goes
sense.
the Weasel was a third phrase with pop in it. So.
Yep.
Pop.
All right, tell me what conveyance that you are drinking out of.
I have them in coffee mugs. 3 different coffee mugs.
I have 2 of my children's thermoses and then 1 giant, hilarious, sparkly rainbow thing my wife put, or somebody, maybe, who knows, put in a 3rd container.
I have a girls' sports plastic cup, a generic plastic cup, and a Lego Batman cup. So, yeah, let's try it. Do you notice anything?
All right, so I'm giving them all a smell, see if they smell different.
No, smell the same to
Smell
me.
all exactly the same, but I'm also coming off a cold, so that might make it hard for me to tell.
They all smell like soda,
Mhm.
which is what you call this stuff. It's soda.
I said
What is
pop
that?
most of my life, but I'm with Geiger. I call it soda.
Thank you.
Geiger, why are you talking a foreign language now? This is an English podcast. We're in America. Speak English.
Look, guys, it smells vaguely of soda. Did I do it right?
General Popoff.
All right. Tasting the first one. That is... I should have got a water for a palate cleanser. Oops.
Oh,
I can
geez.
take the tops off these thermoses. These aren't working through the straw here.
So great to be drinking pop for the first time in months at like 8:30 at night.
Oof. All right, I definitely tasted a difference between my first two.
Ooh. I definitely am feeling that rip off the inner linings of my esophagus.
I think, okay, my first impression is that I think I know which one's Coke, and I'm having a hard time between the other two.
I wonder, my wife put two of these in metal thermoses, and I wonder if it's changing the taste, because I don't recognize the first two at all.
I agree with you, Novak. I think I know which one is Coke, because there is one that is different than the other two. The other two are a little sweeter, but they're tougher to tell.
I think I'm with you guys, too. I think I'm there.
Boy.
Okay. We don't all have the same cups, obviously, so you guys think you know what your Coke is, put that one aside.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think we need one more. I think I'm going to need one more swig to make my final
So
choice.
we're identifying and also ranking is what we're doing here. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to rank them first, right?
Okay. We're going to rank them first just to
But
color of
I don't know
cup.
why I have like a rating system, because all three of these are getting basically the same rating because they all taste the fucking same.
The rating system. They're pretty much all cola.
I'll be honest. RC and Pepsi are going to be hard to... Well, assuming I know what Coke is, which I think I do. RC and Pepsi are going to be difficult to
If
tell.
we're even right. We could all be wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's line them up in order of preference. Line them up in order of your preference.
All right. I have lined them up in order of preference, and I also think I know which all three are. We'll see.
Okay, Geiger, tell us your thoughts.
I'm lining. No, hold on one sec.
What do you like about the one you like the most, and what do you like least about the one you like least?
I like the one I like the most because it is the least sweet of the three, and I don't like super sweet stuff, and I've always found Pepsi a little too cloyingly sweet.
Don't you like just chug Mountain Dew on the reg?
Yeah, but other than that, I don't like super sweet stuff. I don't drink Mountain Dew as much as I used to, but yeah, I guess what I just said makes no sense. Mountain Dew is like half syrup, but
Yeah.
so I think the one in the big sparkly thermos-like thing is Coke.
You like that one the best?
And I think, well, am I supposed to say that yet?
No, you can say,
Sorry.
what would you like best? That's the one you like the best?
Yes.
Okay, and why?
Like I said, it's got the most. I like the kind of the throat feel you get from Coke, and
Okay.
that's why I think I'm tasting this one. Although these were poured about an hour and a half ago, so they lost some of their carbonation.
And what ratings are you going to give them?
Oh, right. Okay, so I think Sparkly Cup is Coke, and I will give it a hop on pop.
Okay.
I think. Now I'm gonna have to taste these other two again.
Watching him drink. Smacking his lips. Right.
Just mouthfeel.
Touching his throat.
Yeah. Where's a polar bear? I need one. Fuck. Sorry.
Give us the ratings. They're cola.
I almost spilled them all. I'm trying to
What'd
figure
you
it
do?
out.
Yeah.
I think Pink is next, and I think it's Pepsi. I give Pink. All right, Pepsi. This is confusing. I give the Pepsi. These are both very close. If I'm correct in what I think RC and Pepsi are, they're very close. I will probably. I don't dislike any of them. I'll give them both
Okay.
a Pop Goes the Weasel, and I think Pink is Pepsi, and I think the blue is
RC.
RC. And the only reason I think that is the pink has a bit more of a familiar flavor to me than the other one, but I don't know if that's really accurate or not. They're very close. I'm just on a wild hunch. I'm going to take pink only because I feel like I've drank it before. I like them both fine.
All right, should we
let's see
should we
if
see
you're
his
right.
answers before we move on, or
They are written on 3 consecutive Post-it notes.
Okay. Let's see if you're right about the Coke.
Oh, I was wrong. Blue. Oh, wait, no, I am right. Blue was the RC Cola. Oh, pink was Coke, and the sparkly was
Pepsi.
Pepsi. I was completely wrong.
Oh shit, Geiger, you dumbass!
I'm a little worried now. I'm a little worried.
Pepsi the best. That's strange.
Oh,
huh?
I'm a little worried after finding that out.
I was so sure I could pick out Coke versus Pepsi. I was right about the RC and liking that one the worst, but I got pink and I got Coke and Pepsi.
All right, you're a Pepsi guy now. I better see Pepsi next time I come over to your place.
I will exclusively offer you Pepsi products. I guess I have to apologize to those polar bears I used to lust for.
All right, Chad. Chad's, I see, making some last minute decision. I think Geiger's results kind of made Chad question his entire life.
It's thrown me off here.
I mean, we've heard me fail at most contests on this podcast, so don't let me be a barometer, but no pressure. You'll just look like a dipshit.
Yeah.
All right, Chad.
So I've got 3 identically sized coffee mugs. One of them is a custom made mug that has pictures of my dog on it. That's right. I got a custom mug with pictures of my dog because that's the kind of person I am. Second one is a mug that has a logo for a restaurant called Joe's Cable Car, which was my favorite burger place in San Francisco, but they've been closed for a couple years now. And the third one is a mug for Council of State and Territorial Epidemiologists, and I don't know why my wife has this. So, to me, the one in the my dog's name is Napoleon. To me, the one in the Napoleon mug is it tastes different than the other 2. And then I'm also, so that one was my favorite.
And you're thinking it's what?
Coming up, still trying to decide. Coming up second was the Joe's Cable Car mug. I like that a little bit better than the epidemiology mug. The reason being the epidemiology mug, just like, it didn't quite have as much carbonation. It tasted like a little flatter. And this is weird to say about a drink, but it tasted a little staler, if that makes sense.
Yes, I have one that tastes that way.
So I think the one that tastes the most stale is RC Cola.
Yes.
I just have a feeling like
6 years.
Yeah, right. I just have a feeling like because it was, because it was made in like the Great Depression.
Because it was in the dog food aisle for some reason.
And then I think I do think that, well, let me give these last 2 one last and see if I can.
It's going back.
I'm taking 2 quick
You were
sips.
worried about this keeping you up, and now you're downing the entire drink.
Yeah. Okay. I think the one in the Napoleon mug is Coke, and I think the one in the Joe's Cable Car mug is Pepsi. So I'm ranking Coke first, then Pepsi, and then RC is what I think.
What
so,
are you giving them all rating-wise first, or are you just giving them all the same old?
Oh, yeah. The only one that... So the first 2, I'm going to give a Hop on Pop. And then the third one, I'm going to give a Pop Goes the Weasel. I mean, look, they're good beverages. I don't drink them anymore because they're straight up fucking poison. And, like, people should not be drinking them. Like, they're making the world fatter. So that's bad. But
it's an outtake for this podcast.
But, yeah, you shouldn't drink them.
We ate 41 Oreos and we're all mad about soda.
Hey, look, the quickest way to get fat is to drink your calories. That's true. That's why everyone should drink water and be boring all the time. All right, so so my wife emailed me, and she said she's like, oh, there's a clue that I think is going to give it away, which she included in the email with a picture. And she says, as I was pouring the sodas, it seemed like RC was much flatter and less carbonated than the other 2. I wonder if you observed that when you drank it. Well, I think I did, but let's look at the answer key here.
All right, let's see. What was it?
Oh, wow. I was 100% wrong on all three.
That's interesting, though.
So the one that I liked the best, which was the dog mug, was Pepsi. I had said that was Coke. The one in the Joe's cable car, which I said was Pepsi, was actually RC. And then the one that I said that tasted stale in the epidemiology mug was actually Coke.
Well.
So, wow, I am a worthless piece of shit. Damn.
Well, at least it is sort of proving you right.
I'm just going to roll myself right out this window. What's the point of living?
So the one you liked best was the Pepsi?
Yeah, that's right.
Pepsi winning.
2 out of 3 Pepsi, and now I am super worried that I just picked Pepsi too. So
why? Would you have a vested stake in it?
I'm not sure why. I don't.
And my Coke stock will be worthless after this podcast changes millions of minds.
Because I love those polar bears. Okay, I spent years blowing a polar bear, not so I could promote Pepsi on my podcast. All right.
Wow, this I'm seriously, you guys, my mind is blown. I'm like rethinking all my life's decisions up to this point.
That's fair.
I'm having like a serious midlife crisis. I might go buy a Lamborghini after this podcast
the same
ends.
thing that you did, Chad, about Coke versus Pepsi. Although I always stood by that there was a difference, which I've been proven wrong. But Mr. Pibb and Dr. Pepper, people would always be like, "Oh," because we used to work at a restaurant, we only had Mr. Pibb, and people would be like, "Can I get a Dr. Pepper?" And when we say we have Mr. Pibb, they'd be like, "Never mind." And I never understood that because to me they're identical. But I wonder, I don't know, maybe there's a difference or not.
Yeah.
All right. I've got a nameless cup. I'm going Coke. It tastes different than the others. It's most likely Pepsi now. But I'm going with Coke. I'm going. I had a flatter one, and I put it last. I'm the same way. My first thought was RC. I'm not going to change it because Chad said that. I'm going to go. That's the RC, and then this middle ground one that to me tastes a little sweeter. In this Lego Batman cup, I'm going to go with Pepsi. It just tastes not quite as good and not quite as stale. So I think I have very similar thoughts to what you guys had about these. I'm going to give the one I like the best the highest rating, a hop on pop. And the other two, even the one that wasn't totally flat, had a flat-ish taste to it that just wasn't as satisfying. So I'm going to give both of those the middle. Pop goes the weasel. So I'm going to flip it over. So I was correct on the Coke. That the Coke was the one I preferred the best. So that I was right on. But I flipped my RC and Pepsi around. The Pepsi apparently was for me the flatter tasting of the ones. And I guess, it could just be a random thing that happened with the bottle I got. But the Pepsi for me was the last rating, which is interesting. So
you ranked them Coke, RC, Pepsi. In the end, I ranked them Pepsi, RC, Coke, and Geiger. What was yours?
Pepsi, Coke, RC.
Pepsi, Coke, RC.
Well,
somebody can do the math and see what won overall.
Yep, thanks.
Not going to
get back to us. RC's probably just like, holy crap, we beat them at something.
Jed's doing it in his head right now. Well, Pepsi got
Pepsi wins with 7,
right.
And then Coke with 6, RC with 5.
That's a lot closer than I thought it would be.
Yes, it is, and none of us correctly identified both Coke and Pepsi. Those of us even that got a couple right, got them switched those around. So, are you surprised at all by these results?
Yes,
I am so surprised. I haven't been this surprised since RC Cola magically showed up in a mug next to me 20 minutes ago.
Did you, as a kid, drink any other type of cola? Like I had, like generic store-bought cola a lot. Like my dad would buy whatever the local, like grocery store cola was. Did you guys drink sodas like that?
Occasionally.
Yeah, not that much. As far as like I'm still a big root beer guy. Love trying different kinds of root beers and stuff, but I don't think we ever really got just like the regular generic ones. It was pretty much just either Coke or Pepsi.
There was a local brand growing up called Jolly Good, and we would once in a while have that, but generally it was Coke or Pepsi if we had it in the house.
How about Jolt Cola?
I remember it. I remember having it at school. My mom would not allow me to have it. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, or maybe don't remember, Jolt was famous for supposed to have like 4 times the caffeine of a regular can of cola or something like that. And I remember having some at lunch and thought it was like so great because I probably just because I was a dumb kid and thought it was like forbidden or something. So it was cool to drink it, but I'm sure it tasted like crap. I can't remember.
Chad, do you have Jolt?
Never heard of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think the newer one was like Surge or something.
Yeah, it was supposed to just be like laden with caffeine or something.
Hence the name.
Novak, do you ever have it?
Yeah, I definitely a long time ago, and I remember the same thing. Like it was when you were like in 5th grade, it was one of those things. Oh my gosh, he has a Jolt Cola. Like you drank it, like under the bleachers or something, so as not to get caught.
Under the bleachers at the same time that you're like, that's the same place you shoot up your heroin as a kid.
Yes, I was under the bleachers a ton because I was super popular and making out with chicks all the time and stuff.
And you were just like eating piles of dirt down there. That's what you do under the bleachers.
And now I just go into there to do my methamphetamine because I was not joking about that part. I really am a meth.
What, Geiger, have you found that the elementary school kids are buying the most of drug-wise from you?
From me?
From me.
Well, the
From
thing
me
is, they're an
personally?
element. For me personally, it's pretty easy to fool them because they're dumb. They're elementary school kids. So I'll sell them like sweethearts for like $50 a pack because they think they're drugs. And just tell them I gave them the good tasting.
What drug do you tell them that is?
Candy discs. I don't know. I tell them it's Molly.
The old candy discs.
I tell them it's candy discs or Molly. One of those two.
Your plan was perfect but you had no plan for when they asked you what the drug was, and you candy disc, and then you run.
Candy discs. Look, they're kids. They'll probably still give me $50 for candy, but yeah, no, I tell them that it's basically like ecstasy, and that they go in and then they can tell other teachers they're just rolling, and they give them like glow sticks, and they tell their parents they got quote unquote high, which is really bad for business. They need to stop telling the kids they're getting high. And then I did it. No, like you're a teacher. What kind of drugs do you see flowing freely through your classrooms?
There was a thing a while back where kids were drinking a bunch of cough syrup. Like that was actually a big epidemic, which just always to me seemed like a weird way to get high. But I guess that's what kids find ways to do that kind of stuff.
It's natural evolution of like glue sniffing or something, I guess.
Right.
For me, the biggest drug that I've seen, polar bear cum.
So, that's true.
There you go.
No, I'm glad we worked back to that.
I just call it. I've called it candy cum though. Just to say.
You know what? I'll bet. I'll bet we have all our listeners, all 3 of them right now. They're just sitting there like mocking us because I guarantee every single person listening to this podcast is like thinking to themselves, I would have been able to tell. I would have been able to tell which ones they were. And my message to all of you podcast listeners is fuck you. No, you wouldn't have. No fucking way.
This reminds me where at Thanksgiving at my wife's family, they all were certain they could identify the most expensive wine. So my wife had won in a raffle, like $100 bottle of wine. So we went and got 2 other bottles, like a $20 one, and then a bottle of Barefoot, which is like $5. And since I hate wine, I wouldn't have been able to even take a good guess. I ran the guessing, and every single person got them wrong. So I would like the listeners to go out, get a Coke and a Pepsi, and an RC if you could manage to travel back in time, and tell us how you do. And Geiger, where can they send their results?
Well, first of all, I'm with Chad. To all of our listeners, fuck you.
That's my new thing. Every episode, I'm going to insult our listeners until there are none left.
If you'd like to reach out and get some methamphetamine or the new drug craze on the streets, candy discs, you can just hit me up personally by emailing the general You Tried Dat email. So if you want to give us some feedback, you want to do your own contest and tell us that you are superior to us and are able to tell the flavors of indiscriminate soda to us, You can reach us at youtrydat@gmail.com, hashtag youtrydat on Twitter. We have a Facebook group. We're on Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, Instagram, all the various social media platforms. And we'd love to hear your thoughts and your feedback. And thank you for listening as always.
And
please do reach out to us, because I jerked off way too many polar bears, and I've just got such a surplus of polar bear cum. I gotta unload it. Like, it's not moving. So please, anyone, take it.
Okay.
Yep.
Geiger, what's your current burner phone number?
My current burner phone, where you can get all that sweet, sweet candy disc that makes it just get so high. Is that how drug dealers talk? I don't
Nailed it.
You can reach me at 111-222-3333. I've
real.
Also got a line on some illicit polar bear cum, apparently, that I can mix in for free if you need something to chase those candy discs with.
All right. Well, officially gone off the rails now, so we'll end it here.
We started off the rails.
And, fuck you to the listeners, and next time we'll be back when we'll be trying 3 brand new snacks.
Deuces.
Fuck you.